So far, we have one application.properties file, and this application.properties file is our default configuration. So what we have is a database, which is h2, and then we have the application.properties configured specifically for our local dev environment. So this is great, but remember, when we are building applications, we want to take our application and then deploy that to an environment and then test it with a different set of properties. So let's say that we have a dev environment, and in this environment, we actually want to connect to a database hosted on Amazon Web Services, so AWS. So how do we set up our application so that we can point to different environments using application.properties? Well, the cool thing about Spring Boot is that we have this thing called profiles, and it's very simple. Now, there are many ways of doing this, but let me show you. So here, if I go back to IntelliJ, and right here, so we have the application, so application.properties right here, right? So this is our application.properties. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to press Command C and then Command V. And this will be application dash and then dev. So this is this dev environment right here, right? So I'm going to press OK. And there we go. So now we should have a duplicate file, or actually a new file called application-dev. Now in here, what makes this environment specific is that we can go and say, right, so here, for example, the database URL is, let's say that this was somewhere in the cloud, for example, right? But here I'm going to say testdb and then dash and then dev and then dash environment. Let's also change the username. So here I'm going to say hello, and then the password is also hello, right? And we can say, right, I don't want to see, for example, SQL, or actually let's just leave it. SQL is actually fine for dev environments. We also want to change the path. So hello h2-dev, for example. And then here we're going to leave things as it is. And basically you see that the difference between application.dev properties and application.properties is that we tweaked the data source URL as well as the h2 console, right? So now how do we run the application pointing to our application-dev properties? Well, it's very simple. So here, what we're going to do is I'm going to stop the application here, and then I'm going to go to demo. So here, I'm going to open up edit configurations. And here, what I'm going to do is the following. So we could actually do this a couple of ways, but for example, in here, we actually don't need this anymore, right? And in here, what I want to do is say dash dash and then spring.profiles dot and then active equals to dev. So dev in here refers to, so if I apply, okay, so dev refers to this name right here. So Spring is smart enough to know that we are referring to this file right here. So if I start the application, and what I want you to see is in the logs. So if I scroll to the top, so in here, have a look. Starting application, the following profiles are active equals to dev. So let me just stop and then remove this property right here. So apply, okay, start again, and there we go. Have a look. No profile set, and then falling back to default.properties, or actually to default profiles and then default. which means that it's actually picking this default.properties for our local dev environment, so for our local development. So let's actually switch to this one where we have a different set of configurations. So again, in here, let's just paste that again, apply, OK. If I reload, you can see that now it's active. So here, dev is active. And let's go ahead and open up our web browser. And before, so this is to do with the Prometheus that we set up before. And this is actuator. So before, remember, we accessed our H2 console by saying /H2. If we try now, it doesn't work because, so here, we said that now it's -dev. So if I say, so in here, if I say dash and then dev, you can see that this time it works. And then here, the URL, we changed it as well. So the URL was this. So let me take all of that. And it's no longer SA. So the URL is that and not testdb. Password was hello. If I test connection, and for some reason my password disappeared, so let me just say hello again and then connect, and we are in. So this is awesome. So there you have it. So we actually have two property files, one for our dev environment and the other one for our local development. Basically right here, we actually not connecting to Amazon RDS because I'm just, giving you the point here, but here, which means that now you can have, for example, a different database right here. And if you want to have a different set of, well, actually not different database, but different environment. So let's say that you have the prod environment. So usually you have like dev. So let me just paste that. So you have dev and then stage, or actually staging. And then you also have, let's say, prod, right? So this is what you would see, right? So now you can actually switch your configuration based of your environment. So there you have it. This is everything about property files with Spring Boot. And this is super useful to know how to do it because you will have to do it when connecting your application against one or many environments. If you have any questions, go ahead and let me know. Otherwise, let's move on.